Oke, oke. Iya, making sure aja. Udah ya. Pak Fanky belum jawab ya? Iya, making sure aja. Udah ya.
Manda jadiin Pak Fanky Manda.
Oh, ya? Hah?
Pak Fanky udah masuk tuh.
Iya, iya.
Jaga Fanky is here.
Demi, how are you?
I'm good.
Langsung mulai ya.
Pak Fanky jadiin pos Manda.
Oh ya, lupa.
Tolong itu dong, apa namanya, presentasi saya udah siap, Mak?
Udah.
Siap, thank you.
Langsung mulai ya, Pak.
Silakan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Amanda, the MC for our webinar this afternoon. Please be patient while waiting for other participants. Make sure your mic is muted during the webinar. We will start in 5 minutes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We will start our online webinar. Thank you for your presence. On this good occasion, we will discuss the theme of green and sustainable technology, path to the future. This activity is supported by APTIKNAS, Indonesian ICT Business Association, held by event Cerdas, Building IT and B2B Skills, also supported by media partner Biscom.id, IT and Law Portal. First, we will hear opening remarks from Pak Fanky Christian as Secretary General of APTIKNAS.
Oke, thank you Amanda. Selamat siang teman-teman semua. Terima kasih karena bisa gabung di dalam kegiatan kita pada siang kali ini yang temanya menarik untuk kita lihat ya, karena Green and Sustainable Technology Path to the Future. Ya, jadi ini apa yang nanti kita akan bicarakan. Mungkin nanti narasumber kita, Mr. Demi Hazam, akan bicara spesifik lebih ke green arsitektur desain. Menurut saya itu akan sangat menarik juga, dan ini baseline yang mungkin diperlukan untuk kita melihat ya bagaimana penerapan ya ataupun implementasi dari green and sustainable technology. Tapi izin sebelum masuk ke materi Mr. Demi, saya akan kasih sedikit slide ya terkait dengan tema kita pada siang kali ini. Boleh tolong ditampilkan, Nurma? Ya, di show. Bisa tolong di show di bawah? Ya, atau ya, oke. Ya, oke. Green and Technology Trend in 2025. Jadi ini sedikit apa yang saya coba persiapkan untuk sesi kita pada siang kali ini. Next, tolong. Nah, kalau bicara Green Technology Trends di 2025 sebetulnya tidak banyak apa yang berubah ya. Karena menurut saya teman-teman pasti sudah dengar tentang hal ini ya. Jadi yang pertama tentu adalah renewable energy expansion. Jadi orang akan semakin sadar pentingnya untuk bisa menggunakan renewable energy dan menurut saya ini nanti juga akan menjadi part dari salah satu desain arsitektur green design nanti akan Mr. Demi akan sampaikan. Mungkin yang berikutnya challenging kalau buat Indonesia ya, green hydrogen revolution ya. Karena apa ya banyak hal lah ya, tapi menurut saya bukan karena kita nggak punya duit atau nggak ada yang mau invest, tapi mungkin lebih ke urusannya ke politik matters gitu. Nah, berikutnya Smart and Sustainable City. Jadi ini juga hal yang menarik karena dalam berbagai kegiatan sekarang kami banyak berkonsentrasi di Smart and Sustainable Cities. Ya, 2 tahun lalu kami join di task force yang namanya Asian Smart City Center of Excellence atau ASEC. Nah, di ASEC ini kita bicaranya ini nih, Smart and Sustainable Cities ya. Jadi bukan cuma smart tapi juga kota yang bisa berkelanjutan. Berikutnya tentu teman-teman pasti sudah lihat banyak EV infrastructure ya. Kalau kita mungkin tahun lalu bicara tentang EV, belum banyak Pak, ngapain kita beli mobilnya gitu ya. Tapi sekarang menurut saya sudah banyak sekali electronic vehicles dan juga infrastruktur pendukungnya sudah ada di mana-mana. Meskipun kita tetap melihat ya ada tren turun naik terkait dengan penerapan dari electric vehicle di Indonesia. Boleh next? Nah, yang berikutnya ini menarik. Karena apa? Karena menurut saya kalau bicara green teknologi, orang juga harus mempertimbangkan ini. Faktor yang penting juga, water atau air. Water purification management and management. Jadi sekarang mungkin kita kalau yang di Jakarta ini kebanyakan kita pakai sumber airnya dari ini ya pump ya dan mitranya gitu. Tapi yang jadi menarik ternyata dalam 2 tahun ini bahkan mungkin sampai dengan tahun depan itu akan banyak sekali orang akan memiliki pengelolaan airnya secara mandiri, baik itu di rumah ataupun juga di kawasan. Ya, ini water purification and management. Kemudian kita juga melihat ada decentralized energy system ya. Sekarang ini mungkin kita bicara sekarang listrik kita cuma pakai PLN sumbernya karena monopolinya ada di PLN. Tapi sekarang sejujurnya tidak karena ada sebagian yang sudah punya eh, solar panel mereka membagi itu dengan bebannya dengan solar panel. Jadi solar panel listrik lampunya pakai solar panel dan lain sebagainya. Nah, ini kita juga akan lihat dalam skala yang lebih besar, tidak hanya di rumah, di kawasan, tapi juga ada di gedung, bahkan ada di kota gitu ya. Jadi kita melihat decentralized dari energy system. Nah, karena ada decentralized ini pasti ada tantangan bagaimana mengukurnya, bagaimana melakukan pengukuran efisiensinya. Nah, jadi inilah penerapan dari artificial intelligence dan IoT. Jadi ini juga saya teman-teman mengundang teman-teman yang mungkin belum banyak berkonsentrasi, coba lihat deh. Karena kalau kita bisa monitor saja penggunaan energi kita, tentu kita akan bisa mendapatkan insight ya. Ternyata saya pakai energi saya sekian gitu kan. Saya pakai listrik saya sekian, saya pakai buat AC sekian, saya pakai buat saya kerja sekian. Nah, yang berikutnya ini memang agak challenging di Indonesia, tapi menurut saya sudah mulai dan memang mereka sudah melihat ada potensinya, yaitu biodiversity dan ecosystem restoration. Ya, ini mungkin jadi PR pemerintahan kita, tapi menurut saya ini potensi yang sangat besar. Bagaimana kita bisa menggunakan misalnya bukan cuma smart waste, tapi juga waste management sampai ke ini bisa menjadi sumber energi baru gitu. Nah, inilah yang menurut saya kita harus lihat dan dorong pemerintah kita dan juga kita di ekosistem untuk bisa mendorong bisa terjadinya ecosystem restoration dan biodiversity. Berikutnya next. Berikutnya boleh. Next. Ya.
Bentar, Pak.
Itu yang bawah aja, di bawah.
Yang panah
Gitu loh.
kanan aja tuh di bawah.
Panah kanan.
Udah, Pak, nggak mau.
Masuk ke WPS.
Oh. Coba di stop dulu. Stop tanda itunya. Tanda paling kanan bawah. Ya. Bukan itu loh paling kanan bawah. Nah, oke. Carbon utilization and storage. Nah, carbon utilization dan storage ini juga jadi concern ya. Saya ingat tahun ini pemerintah di Kemenperin ada bilang, "Halo, tolong ukur penggunaan karbon energi Anda pabrik-pabrik." Wah, itu langsung pusing mereka. Bagaimana cara mengukurnya? Karena selama ini audit energi itu hanya dilakukan misalnya per tahun hanya 2 kali gitu. Sekarang harus tiap bulan. Nah, carbon capture, utilization, dan storage ini jadi penting karena memang menurut saya ya kita harus bisa mengukur penggunaan energi, penggunaan karbon, berapa banyak yang kita gunakan dan pakai, kemudian juga utilisasinya gimana, dan juga storage-nya. Nah, berikutnya ini kami kemarin mendukung salah satu kegiatan namanya apa itu namanya? Terkait dengan agriculture tech, ya, Propak Agriculture Tech. Nah, di situ kami bicara tentang sustainable agriculture and food tech. Ya, pemerintah kita sekarang punya program bikin makan siang gratis. Nah, makan siang gratis itu nggak sembarangan karena ternyata perlu sumber makanannya. Nah, sumber makanannya dari mana? Sumber makanannya kalau tidak menggunakan teknologi, khususnya teknologi IT, mungkin akan jadi kendala. Ya, sustainable and agriculture food tech ini juga akan jadi concern. Nah, berikutnya ini mungkin yang nanti akan banyak dibahas, green building teknologi. Bukan hal baru buat Indonesia. Semenjak tahun lalu kita juga di asosiasi di banyak tempat kita udah bicara tentang green building teknologi ya. Nanti kita kupas lebih dalam di slide berikutnya. Terakhir, circular economy innovation. Boleh next? Nah, bicara komitmen Indonesia gimana sih dalam mendukung ya pengurangan ya gerakan rumah kaca ini. Jadi yang pertama Indonesia ini sudah punya komitmen semenjak Paris Agreement 2016 ya. 2012 atau 2016? 2016. Nah, kemudian komitmennya apa? Komitmennya mereka akan mengurangi gas rumah kaca GRK itu di tahun 2030, 29%. Kemudian setelah itu keluarlah subsektor ya untuk fokusnya di sektor energi untuk bangunan gedung ini ditarget turun 1,9 juta ton CO. Nah, tentu ini tantangan besar buat Indonesia yang mungkin selama ini belum menggunakan ya. Oleh karena itu, ada revisi target tanpa syarat 31%, kemudian bebas bersyarat, itu sekitar 43,20. Nah, target mencapai emisi ini pada tahun 2060. Boleh next? Nah, yang kita mau lihat juga ternyata kontribusi bangunan gedung di dalam penggunaan energi ini cukup besar ya. Cukup besar ya. Kita lihat ini perbandingannya industri bangunan dengan transportasi. Ini 36% justru ada di bangunan loh, Bapak Ibu semua. Jadi oleh karena itu pemerintah punya konsentrasi besar untuk bisa menurunkan penggunaan energi di bangunan. Ya, tadilah teknologi green building, kemudian ada yang kita bangunan gedung hijau, ya, regulasi terkait dengan itu. Kemudian nanti mungkin yang akan Mr. Demi bahas ini green design arsitektur ya, pengalamannya dari kota Amsterdam yang ingin kita gali. Next, boleh. Nah, penurunan GRK di gedung ini ya targetnya ada. Bagaimana caranya? Nah, ini ada yang modelnya melakukan energi efisiensi, ada yang menggunakan renewable, ada yang menggunakan clean power technology, ada yang menggunakan low carbon fuel ataupun juga mine redemption. Nah, kalau kita lihat di sini memang tugas ini menjadi tugas besar kita bersama untuk bisa terus mendorong agar ini bisa segera kita lakukan secara bersama-sama ya, bukan hanya tanggung jawab masing-masing, tapi semua ini harus terlibat untuk bisa menggunakan dengan baik dan bisa mencapai target yang ditentukan ya. Next. Nah, penyelenggaranya gimana? Ya, sesuai dengan amanat PP nomor 16 tahun 2021, bangunan gedung hijau ditargetkan untuk mencapai ini gitu ya, 25% konservasi energi dan juga 10% konservasi air. Konservasi energi dan air ini tentu melibatkan banyak pihak, mulai dari pemilik, pengelola, pemerintah pusat, pemerintah daerah, dan juga penyedia jasa konstruksi. Nah, belum lama ini telah dikeluarkan peta jalan, ya, roadmap, bahasa Inggrisnya roadmap, untuk penyelenggaraan dan pembinaan bangunan gedung hijau dengan target penurunan emisi untuk sektor bangunan gedung sebesar 3 juta ton pada bangunan pemerintah, 14 juta ton di bangunan gedung komersil, dan 19 juta ton pada hunian rumah tangga. Boleh next?
Udah Pak, ini cuma
Terakhir ya.
Terakhir ya.
Ya. Oke, jadi itu mungkin pengantar yang saya bisa sampaikan. Nanti kita akan lebih banyak mendengar insight dan juga sharing dari Mr. Demi. I think we can continue with Mr. Demi presentation and sharing about the green design and architecture. Go ahead, Demi.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Pak Fanky. Yeah, I'm Demi Hazam. I've been here a few times already, and people that paid attention to the event Cerdas and the development. A while ago, I was busy with, or still busy actually, with the integral design method public space that belongs to Amsterdam, and actually is an extension for the mandatory policies for the Netherlands, for the Ministry of Infrastructure, or Kementerian Paper Belanda, where we defined all the policies that we want to have to integrate into our tender development, so that the contractors have to submit to innovation to become more sustainable. Otherwise, they cannot bid on personal projects. So that is also my part-time job. I write policies for the Kota Amsterdam, Utrecht, Rotterdam, but also for the government. And what I do is I help them secure the processing that what we want to demand in the tenders to how do you call it, to influence the contractors of the Netherlands to innovate on sustainable solutions, where we define the goals that we want, and meaning that sustainability is most of the time an objective for the government, mostly to get votes or to be popular. But project developers, contractors, they all want profit and money. So they don't care about it. And sustainability sounds expensive and sounds like we have to invest. So we don't not going to do that. And already 20 years ago, we have that problem in the Netherlands, exactly the same. And the experience that the experts around me gathered created a system where we integrated all of those. And for the government, this is a system that guarantees to achieve the good target of the Paris Agreement. And for the contract developers and the companies that are executing these projects, it guarantees that they have more profit, low maintenance cost, more. The users also have lower expenses to live somewhere or to pay the electricity bill, and so on. Today, I'm going to explain which part of that comes together into a piece of software. Software that is developed by our partner Lef's Architecture, who is also busy with this more than 15 years. The software is being used globally right now in individual projects here and there. In the Netherlands, we are busy with developing new projects where we put forward a bio-based building, because bio-based building automatically lowers the carbon footprint of buildings, renewable energy to lower the bills for the users, but also make sure that all the materials are circular. And all these ideas that we had the last 20 years, we bring together. So I will show that in the presentation because it will speak for itself. It's not so easy to make a presentation for me for this, because it's quite a lot of material. You have to imagine that I have around 6 or 7 presentations from my partners, and that count together around 1,000 slides. So I try to make and pick the most important slides to show today the essence for what I want to explain, where green as green or sustainable comes together with technology, and why that is actually the most important factor for starting to develop, because those things are the most challenging. So finding solutions and finding technical solutions is easy, but how do you practicize it, and how do you make it, how do you call that? How do you keep scaling that up, and how you make it a trend, right? That's more important, and the loss of knowledge. So let me share my screen. It starts probably with green sustainable technology. Can everybody see my screen? Yes? I assume?
No.
Yes, I can see, sir.
I have the back screen first, right? Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So first I'm going to go through some standard data that we all know about the climate change, that everybody knows what's going on. Climate change is, of course, a thing that is really happening. Doesn't matter what the reason is, if it's our fault or maybe climate change naturally, it's more that it's happening. And because of that, we have to anticipate on that. And the data that we are known is that in 2023, the degree we will end up in 2024 with 1.45 degrees, and this will keep on growing and accelerating actually. It's come because we have the industrial revolution, and we're going from the 1.4, the 1.2 in that time to 2.7. So that means there's a lot of things going, and we want to make sure that we can accelerate. At this moment, not only in Indonesia, not only in the rest of the world, and not Blanda is not the best, definitely not, because we're not there yet. But the thing is, we are innovating too much and we're doing too less. So this, in my world, I'm a constructioner from youth. So actions speak louder than words. It's not happening at the moment, and that's why it has become critical. So the future pathway is 1.5 degrees, and we have to do something about it right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but right now. And it's not only for Indonesia. I think that Indonesia in general probably has the better numbers for CO2 than the rest of in the rest of the world. Yes, Indonesia is big, and yes, we have volcanoes and we have a lot of cars in the big cities, but in average, Indonesia also have a lot of green. And I think in carbon credits, Indonesia will be more rich than most of the countries in the world. But it doesn't mean we don't need to join. And if you compare that what they do in Holland it's just as big as the province Bantam, so they will not have a lot of impact. But Indonesia would have a lot of impact, and what is more important in Indonesia, in my opinion, would be the financial part. Cheaper building, faster building, with more profit. That sounds also very interesting, especially if you can use the technology and the methods from tomorrow, from Europe, and you can use them today in Indonesia. That would be also a situation where Indonesia can get a head start on the rest of the world. So we have 200 GTO CO giga, so 200 GTO CO2 to go. There's 5 years to go, and in this 5 years, something has to happen. That's the budget. So what are the challenges that we have? We just talked about it's not happening. Scalability. So there's a difficulty in scaling successful pilots into larger projects. There's a lot of technology out there, in Indonesia and the rest of the world, and everybody's doing pilots. And those people that are proven to make proven technology or proven methods, usually they start innovating again, or someone else going to innovate, but it's not being exploited. There's also resistance. Stakeholders often resist sustainable changes because of the risk. If you implement a lot of solar panels or windmills, or you do a different kind of technology, that means that other technology will disappear. That means that jobs will be going down, loss will be lost. That means that people have to be re-educated. It costs a lot of money. So there's a lot of things why we don't want that, right? Actually, we're trying to find reasons why we don't want to do it the whole time. Then we have the cost issue. Sustainability is seen as more expensive than traditional methods, and especially when you're talking about technologies like sustainable things like the solar panels, electrical vehicles, and everything that goes around it with battery sets and energy storage systems, and it all costs a lot of money. And then we have the profit. Industry always want profit, and if we want to do renewable energy or other technologies, then it sounds scary because you have to invest more. And fragmentation. For example, I see it in the Netherlands. We have TU Delft, we have TU Wageningen, we have TU Eindhoven. There are other smart people there, but in the beginning, nobody was really collaborating. So they have smart ideas, but because they're not uniting and not talking to each other the right way, only yelling, "I am the best," that's why it never worked. And we need to find a solution for that. And then also we have the learning part of that, learning from each other and learning from all projects, and celebrate successes and learn from mistakes. These are just 6 examples. If I make a list of challenges, I can make 20 slides, but it's not where we're going. Where we're going is just these things for now. So in the Netherlands, we made a tool. We created tools. These tools are created between 2002 and 2008. And from that point off, it has been only being improved over and over and over by simply taking a project, study what went wrong, study what went good, celebrate the things that were good, anchor those things in the new projects, and learn from the mistakes that we made. And this way we started growing and growing and growing. And since 2021, the first is sustainable infrastructure. That's a framework that integrates sustainability into all the phases of infrastructure projects, ensuring environmental and societal goals, and that are aligned with the government in this case, or cost efficiency from the government point perspective. That is now mandatory since 2021, since we signed the new Paris Agreement. Then we have the sustainable scan. A sustainable scan is a method to measure what is now present in the infrastructure where we're going to develop or need to develop, and what do we want to keep and what do we want to improve. And then we have the CO2 performance ladder that gives a certification. In Indonesia, you have a similar kind of certification with black, red, silver, gold. That we need. In Blanda, we also have that, where we simply certify the CO2 footprint from a company by the cars they use and the way they process all the waste, and give them a score. And then we have the Ambition Web. Ambition Web, that is a tool that actually is a tool that it consists of the 17 SDGs that we represent in 12 teams. And actually that's a kind of in-between platform between policy and execution. There, the policy and the corporate policy makers and the contractors sitting on the table together to make decisions. We have a budget that is budget X, and then which sustainable teams do we want to invest in? And then they will choose 3 teams they invest the most money in. They will invest 3 sub-teams. They will go a little bit more money than the rest. And the other 6 teams, they will do just like normal. And that way, they can always make things more sustainable within the available budget without extra investments. And then we have Dubbelkalk, or now it's called the Material Passport. There's actually a software tool that calculates the environmental impact of the materials that we use in the construction, and also the life cycle assessment. So, but these are not just tools. This is not a concept. These are tools that have data on these topics for more than 20 years and the experience to driving sustainable and cost effectiveness or innovation. So how do you translate that into a process? And you see this one is in Bahasa. It's because I already make a translation for this before. So I thought I better use it in the Indonesian so everybody can understand it better. And I just explain it in English. This is the normal process that we have in a project, that we in the initiation phase, the planning phase, the design phase, the construction phase. Then we use the building, and when the building's life cycle is over, then we're gonna demolish it. And it's of course then the tools that you see. The first one is Sustainable Scan. The second one is Ambition Web. The third one is maybe in the future Indonesian version of Dubbelkalk. And tetangga kinerja CO2 is the CO2 procession ladder that we're going to use. And then you see in what phases we use the different kind of tools. Then, oh, that's the wrong one. Then if you take these phases into the project development, those tools has to be used preferably before the initiation phase. And then you go into the decision-making phase from the KPI, and you go into the project development phase for the constructors to in the same cycle that we just showed, where we have the initiation, the planning, the design, the construction, the usage, and then we're going to demolish or recycle the building. In the Netherlands now, almost all the demolition companies have a quota that they can reuse 99% of all the old buildings into new materials. And it's actually a lot of profit for this, because you have to imagine they even capable now to take the old cement from a wall without the bedding, damaging the bedding capacity, and then they can reuse the cement into a new building, and that of course lowers the cost because it's cheaper than new cement. This is just an example. I'm going through this very fast. Then you have the teams of the Ambition Web. The teams of the Ambition Web are divided in 3 different groups, and that is Planet, where we say energie, bahan, air, pemukaan, and ecologie. It's the green side, where we have also sub teams. Then we have the people sides, where we say that we have the penggunaan ruang, the kwalitas ruang, kesejahteraan, and relevantie sosiaal, where everything on the benefit for the people is present. And then we have, of course, the business situation, where we say accessibilitas, investasi kan iklim business. And at this moment, while we're speaking, there is an Ambition Web 3.0 in development, because we're going to improve more. And this is the Indonesian version now. We call it the Methode Desain Indonesia Berkelanjutan. We're not using it yet. I just translated all the material to showcase, and I hope one day Indonesia would say, Demi, we want to know this. We want this to make it be Indonesian or a big part. So how does this work? Because we're talking about technology, of course. So all the data that we created in the sustainable scan, in the CO2 precision ladder, in Ambition 2.0, and in DuboCalc, that come all together in the sustainable approach method from the government. All the data that is related to that, we put that into a database. And then our partners of LES, what they did is amazing. They created a design program where all this come together. And systems is architecture, and the other way around, architecture are systems. So we made a situation where UI is programmed. It's actually programmed in another software method. I will explain it later, maybe.
Halo, Demi. Putus ya?
Ya, I think so. Sorry, kita akan tunggu sebentar ya.
Ya. Oh, blue screen itunya laptop. Baru masuk. Halo Demi.
My apologies.
Ya, ya.
Please give me host. I can share screen.
Yeah, already.
Oke, makasih. So this when technology abandons you. So we were showing the slide with the parameters. So this, how do we use this? I use the Dutch slide because it's not translated yet. The parametric workflow is that we calculate the impact of the sun on the buildings. Then we analyze those kind of things. We configure the buildings with the system. We do accounting studies. Even the parking places we count. Also EVs, loading stations, and we very important. Not always, as far as I know, in Indonesia, it seems, but the facades are very important for the protection of the building to climate change inside the building. And so if you don't let the building heat up a lot and it becomes cooler inside, then you need less air conditioning, for example. And so then easier to control the climate inside. Then from that point off, we use the program to generate. So what are we going to build? What's the shape? So this real architecture, freedom to design anything you want. Then we're going to manage that. So how we build it in a building or into city blocks. And then we're going to solve situations where we go into this public space. And then we calculate all the materials that we use and what the impact is on the CO2 footprint, but also on the cost and other situations. And then we visualize what we want to build. And then we configure the pre-engineering for pre-detail engineering. Then we can make in the system an automation for all the building methods. And then we go into the detail design. So all the processes that are needed to end up with the blueprints for the project are available and can be imported to AutoCAD or CADStation or whatever SolidWorks you use. But it's a base factor where everything is based on sustainability. This is how you can see, for example, how you can do the inside and choose materials. Of course, this database is filled with knowledge that is used globally. So all the materials that are inside and all the prefab elements that are in the database are studied and available via another company who studies this globally. So it's all universal. This is an impression how the program looks like. If you look at the left side, this is the public space area. So what is the space that we're going to use and what is the measurement of all the rooms in the buildings? If you talk, for example, for high-rise, of course, we can also do normal low buildings. Then we have what do you call that? The material usage, what we're going to use. And it calculates here on the right, when you see the number changing, then you see MKE. MKE means the material cost indicator. That's actually the life cycle for other materials. So it calculates the circularity of the building. And of course, under there, that's where we're talking about. It also calculates the CO2 emission of the building and what the footprint will be. And that way you can actually make it into zero if you want. And if you have a budget, then on the right corner, on the right side, you can actually calculate the changes that you want into the budget that you have. And then you go into the detail engineering and process all the data further on to maintain it. And there you can see that all the elements like the columns, the facades, the glass, everything that involved with the building is present in this design method. And then before in other shows, I showed the integral design method public space. That is actually a case study for Amsterdam, Amsterdam, where Bapak Fanky referred it before. This is a detailed design that is published in the book, not really published. It's actually published in the book for Amsterdam as giveaway for international partners. But in Indonesia, we got permission to translate it into Bahasa and to make it commercial, so to make it for sale. And then if you take the program that you just said, many people that know about this, I promise people there will be a 3D design method for this. What you saw before is purely for buildings. Labs also made a program especially for Amsterdam where they calculate the public infrastructure. And then all the indicators that we need to know, that we want to know, as you see under here, you can, the whole street profile for designing the whole street and all the infrastructure around it. So the bancos, the pohon, the everything that's involved, the bicycle road, the normal road, you can calculate all the CO2 footprint from all together before you start building it or before you start transforming it from where it is now. And for Amsterdam, in this case, Amsterdam have to do this job and will probably cost 30 years to transform the whole city. And in this way, we can make it speed it up, maybe speed it up to 20 years. I don't really work for Amsterdam, I work with Amsterdam, but I don't care too much about Blanda. And then in short, an explanation. So the left corner is about spatial, the right corner is about the materials that we're going to use, and the MPG, so the material cost indicator, and the CO2 emission calculator on the right, and then you have the building cost. There's also one more parameter that we can use if we want, and that is also energy usage of the building. And that makes it interesting. So then we can also make a building if we want net zero. And Blanda is already focused and used to that. And then if you go there, you can make the results per element of the whole building. You can even check if the foundation, the footprint of the foundation or the cellar, or maybe the rooftop, or maybe office A, or only the executive office. Every system and every part of the building can be measured separately in circularity, in carbon cost footprint, and in other situations, if you talk about that. And you can make it also visible for that. This is in Dutch. And that's also why I want to show it in Indonesia. I want this in Indonesian somehow, because this is for me the most biggest database in the world to be able to design buildings better. And then what's very important is that in the databases are a lot of bio-based materials. And why do we use that? Because the National Technical Institute of the Netherlands researched the uses of wood in buildings, and they absorb better the CO2 and then compared to steel and concrete, and it's also cheaper, and it's also the same durability. And if you look at the impact on a project, so you will see that the concrete, the CO2 footprint will go up, and the lifetime cycle assessment also go up, and probably your resources will go down if you use sand or cement. And for wood, it's something else. The CO2 footprint always have profit, or always go down. Also, the life cycle will go down, and it's a material that you always can reuse for something else, right? And so it's probably profitable. If you cannot use the wood anymore, you take it off, you put new wood on, and you can use the old wood for something else, make cardboard, make furniture, or whatever. So there's a lot of more profit in the material like that. Yeah, and in a simple circle like that, it's seen that if you look from 2015 to 100 years later, then you can see that the sand, the cement will slowly will depleted, and bio-based wood can always be regrown, so there will never be a loss in that. And it also creates opportunities that's not in this presentation for farmers to cultivate the wood that we need for building and blah, blah, blah. Then a little bit automated how you see that together. So you have the CO2 position ladder and the dual carbon. That's in the system of CCT, the program that we just said. And then we have separate the system, the ambition web, and those two work together to make a project more sustainable within the budget. And in the end result will always be that you have more profit, faster building, cheaper initiation cost, and automatically more sustainable. But most sustainable is not the essence. That is the thing why we made it. But for the project developers, profit is always the most the reason to do this. And with the software system, you can guarantee that from before you go build and before you go into the design. Then I show you this movie before. I'm just to tell you what this movie is. Oh, wait. What this movie is. The first movie that you see, that is a project in Russia, where they use 60% wood. And the second project that you see is a high-rise in Amsterdam that is 80% wood. The second is a project in Germany with also 60% wood. The third one is the high-rise in Amsterdam, and the fourth one is a Sweetie, also in Amsterdam, and that is actually with hardwood made, and that's actually was finished a few months ago. This is in Russia. This one in Germany. It's all about quality, speed, efficiency, lower building costs, and lowering CO2 emission. It's high-rise in Amsterdam, 20 to runtime, 80% wood, 20% concrete and steel. It is a Sweetie that is just being finished. And of course, these projects all are winning all kinds of rewards and other things, right? And what you see on this picture and what you don't see on the other pictures is the solar panel. Because why? With the wood, we already reduced the energy usage of the buildings with 20 to 30%. And with the solar panels, we actually make it net zero. Thank you. This was a short version of my presentation. And thank you, Bapak Fanky, for letting me share this.
Yeah. Well, I think the good thing about this is not only showing that related to the building, right? It can be used also for the areas or cities, yeah, Demi, yeah.
Yeah.
The approach, yeah. Okay. I
Fanky,
think
suara
there are
kecil
some-
banget.
Oh, sorry. I think there are some questions from the audience, yeah. Let's see which one we can discuss. Udah di copy semua ya, Amanda ya, pertanyaannya.
Yes, sudah.
Oke, tolong di spotlight 2 orang. Oke.
Udah.
So I think one of them is from Pak Damar ya. The question basically focus on how long it will take to make a comfortable city, like for example Jakarta or Surabaya. How long it will take? Based on experience, I think the size of the cities or I think Indonesia, one of the problem is now we already have quote unquote wrong design, right? Maybe. So
in Rwanda they have the same problem, all wrong design.
Yeah, wrong design. Okay.
Yes.
So what do you think related to the Damar's question?
I think the gain that Indonesia will have is that, for example, Bogor, Bandung, Cirebon, and Bekasi, they are assigned to the new growing metropolitans instead of Jakarta, right? And it means that there's not a lot new infrastructure have to be developed right there. And I think that is the gain. So the gain is all the infrastructure that Indonesia need to develop from scratch. That is where you can gain your CO2 footprint. And if you talk about Jakarta, if you talk about the existing infrastructure, I just told you Amsterdam is the size of 800,000 people. Yeah, that is not even one city block in Indonesia, in Jakarta.
Yeah.
Right? So 800,000 people is in your corner in Bekasi, for example. So that means they will have to transform the city the coming 30 years. So can you imagine when you will have to transform a city like Jakarta? Actually, there is gain. You can gain a lot in Jakarta, but therefore you need to simply, like what Pak Ahok already did a few years ago, throw things down and build anew. And,
Yeah,
and if you talk about water management, because you see a lot of Banjir, there are lots of solutions for that to solve that right away.
yeah. The same thing what we see on the IKN now, yeah. But the infrastructure there, the building there, but no one want to go there.
Oh, the problem of IKN is that it's the same problem that we had in the Netherlands. I hear many people in Indonesia say things about corruption and that kind of stuff, but it's not really corruption. It's more like friends helping friends, right? And that's not really corruption. But therefore, you exclude opportunity and knowledge exchange with other parties that maybe can help you. And second is, I don't think you have to build IKN with Bule parties. I think you need to build that with Indonesians, only Indonesians.
Yeah. Let's see another question from Pak Andika. How about the cost? Some would say it's too way much. It will be so hard to, there's no commitment from the government and us. How to change that, even if you have another company to produce the carbon emission? Pak Andika.
The carbon, like I explained in the beginning, the method that I just showed you is based on within the budget, and then the financial gains within that. So it doesn't bring any extra investment unless you bring more money on the table. And the gain that you will get is more profit on the materials that you choose, the way you design it. Probably energy bill will be lower. You get more profit when the life cycle of the building is go lower. The maintenance will be less. So you have a lot of financial profit already. And this doesn't require any investment. This requires a different kind of thinking, and because of that, a building will become cheaper to build. It will become faster to build. It will become more profitable because you save a lot of money on sustainable thinking. And the solutions that you use inside, if you would use, for example, a special insulation of the facades, that the building doesn't heat up for 30 degrees when in the sun, or you buy a solar panel set to make more energy, then the solar panel set will probably be more expensive and less effective than protecting the building with smart architecture against climate change inside.
Yeah, yeah.
So what the cost is expensive is a narrative that belongs to the technology. Not this is a system integrator. This is 20 years of experience, practical experience in a database, and that makes it cheaper.
Yeah. Okay, let's see another question. Yeah. In terms of high cost or not depends on the approach, I think. Yeah, because now even the IKN, the people always say expensive, but somehow it's already done. Okay,
I can tell you that Amsterdam is actually implementing everything right now, and Amsterdam, for example, is not ready yet themselves. But for example, what they did is the new way that they do the underground cable infrastructure. They said it to another city, a neighbor city. Listen, if you use our new method, our integral design method, and you do it that way, then you make more profit on it. And the neighbor city was really happy because they saved 800,000 euro on maintenance on the infrastructure.
Yeah. Let's see another question from Pak Ari Cahyono. What is the biggest challenge for Indonesia for implementing the sustainable technology in energy and transportation? Your opinion, Demi?
Wait, in energy and transportation?
Yeah.
If I have to believe PLN engineering is still outdated if you talk about the present infrastructure, meaning that a lot of transformation stations are still not waterproof, for example. So in Java Tenga and Java Timor and other places where this is not happening, you have a lot of blackouts, and there you have so no energy efficiency. If you take a Java, they have been aiming on creating energy as much as possible. So Java have 40% too much energy, but still 75% of Java is too low on it, meaning the infrastructure needs to be improved indeed. But the system that I just showed you is aimed on creating local energy at the building itself, so you do not need the grid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we already have the smart grid lah somehow. Even we still have some challenge in some area, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, in the developed cities you have that, but when you go outside the big metropolitan, then it disappears.
The next question is, what is the most promising green technology innovation for Indonesia to reduce the carbon emission and achieve the net zero emission? Your opinion?
I think smart thinking. So what I just showed you, to change the infrastructure, use the data from other people. You're a data guy, right? You love data, Fanky. Use that data from other countries to learn from it and make yourself. The reason that I wanted to show this to you today is that I asked Levs, would you want to make an Indonesian version? And then they say, no, I don't want it. Because why? We're too busy. We have all over the world, we are busy with projects. But they said, if someone in Indonesia wants to do that, we give them a training, you can guide it, and they can own the product themselves. That's what they said. And license for this project is not expensive compared to other programs. And the most important thing is that the biggest gain that Indonesia have is not to aim to on CO2 too much. You have to. If you hear in the Bule countries right now, then you will hear people whispering that there's many technologies for the coal industry that are more sustainable with a lower CO2 footprint than windmills and solar panels.
Yeah.
Right. So what Indonesia needs to do is they need to develop to make sure that the demand of the Indonesian people can be supplied. And the way we do it, it doesn't matter. Yes, preferably with a low carbon footprint, preferably cheaper and faster. But most importantly is that we just do it.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think I think your tools that you show, I think is based on the research and everything, right? The education and research related to that. So, how far is the for Indonesia, your opinion, the concept of the sustainability in educational and research technology? Do you see the challenge? Even we have the new team, right, in the government now. They more focused. They will try to more focus on the research. Yeah. What your opinion, Demi?
Well, that is always challenging. I mean, I'm actually an old headhunter, and that's why I have access to all this. And I'm working in the construction always. And what I learned from the Netherlands is that in the years 1990, in the 90s, we had this big shift from how do you call that? Hardware. So onboard control panels, like for example, the Siemens, the Philips S20 that you put in a shutter, and then that they still have to program on the spot, right? You have to on a laptop and on the spot. And nowadays you have Siemens S7 and S9 and 10 even already, and you have also Microsoft-based control systems. So that already changed a lot, right? But what happened is that the technology developed 10 times faster than the education at the schools. So how we solved that in the Netherlands was that we were forced to re-educate people with vocational training, right? Because then we discovered that vocational training is essential to have next to normal education. So in the normal education, you have to make sure that people are smart, that they understand numbers, mathematics, physics, blah, blah, blah. And then vocational training is needed always to close the gap in the technology growth and the things that we learn in school. And I think that on school we need to learn the basics, and vocational training is needed to specialize yourself in certain technical roles. And I think that Indonesia it's the only way that Indonesia can do that. Only in Indonesia, vocational training on this way is still very unknown. In the Netherlands, if you want to be a switchboard mechanic, then you go to private school, you say, I want to be switchboard mechanic, and then in 4 weeks you get a certification, and then you can work. And Indonesia, the demand is that you have to have a master in engineering, electrical engineering, to be able to do that. And that's what Indonesia don't understand yet. And that can
I
be
think that's one. Yeah. I think our government trying to refocus again on the vocation, but the problem is, not only about the budget or I think it need to have a work cooperation together, the governments and also the industry like us and the academic itself, right? People now thinking they always try to push their children to the at least to become the bachelor or the sarjana first. But after that, they don't get the job. That's a problem.
Yeah, but that problem we also in the Netherlands. You can in the Netherlands it was just like Indonesian agriculture country. So many children come from agriculture families, and then the city started growing, jobs started to change, and then it was not attractive anymore to become an electrician or to become a mechanic. And why? Papa works his whole life as mechanic, dirty hands and that kind of stuff, and he don't want his son to have the same life. So he's going to teach them to go to the bachelor. And in the Netherlands we have actually we have the same problem still today. And so till today in the Netherlands have still the problem that they don't have enough technicians because of the growth of education.
Okay.
And that is and companies actually try to solve that by, for example, if you have your master in electrical engineering and power engineering, and you go working at an engineering company, then your salary will probably be 2,800 or 3,000. But if you would develop yourself into a software engineer on the spot as a field service engineer, meaning making your hands dirty, you get 5,000 euro. So they simply what they do is they make the vocational training more valuable. But also, the people have to invest themselves from private perspective. And so the vocational training has to be bought by the people, and the government sometimes give money to the Pesero companies to support them to make the vocational training more capable if they are short on people that will affect the company or the country.
Okay. So I think that's all the question that I got through the chat. Silakan kalau teman-teman mau bertanya langsung ke Demi, bisa on mic-nya, liatin videonya biar bisa berkomunikasi langsung dengan Demi. Silakan kalau ada. So Demi, we talk about the green and sustainable technology, in your opinion, because I already share about, I think 12, almost 12, right? The technology related green and sustainable technology. Beside the one that Indonesia already have, what is your opinion? The next step.
What do you mean? Sorry.
The choice of the green and sustainable technology that should fit with Indonesia now.
Yeah, but that is exactly the thing what I just showed. There is not one technology. There is not one solution. Every challenge has its own solution and different approaches. So what you need to create is like what we have in the Netherlands, Ambition Web, or the approach method, sustainable infrastructure. That is a thinking platform, a thinking method, and the technology itself is not in there, because why? If you go to ITB or you go to UE or other universities, there's a lot of smart people that have a lot of solutions, and which solution is the best depends on where you need it.
Yeah.
If you go to the kampong, you can bring 100 solar panels there, but the people have nothing about that. But if you would use the canals that they use to irrigate the water for the sawas, and you make a bamboo flying wheel with a dynamo of a motor, then you already can make a few kilowatt per hour for those people, and it's more suitable and more cheaper than any other technology. So it depends on where are you.
So it should be related to the need, right? The need and the demand
Exactly.
on the in that
Exactly.
location, yeah.
That is also why we have that sustainable scan and ambition map. Those tools exactly do that. Every infrastructure is unique. So every infrastructure have their own challenges and their own need. What is the most important? Some areas need to be developed economically, so need more business. And also, what is the priority, right? If you put example, you have an island, and on the island there is no agriculture, and the people don't have access to fresh food. But what we do is we put there a sustainable wind park. But the people don't care about that because why? They have no food. That's a primary need. If you, I think you remember I showed you the pyramid, right? So how to use the sustainable goals and how to implement that, right? So the social basement is more important than technology. Without food and without everybody happy and because of what they have in the wallet, you cannot do anything. And also in the Netherlands right now, so Indonesia, but also all Southeast Asia is aiming on 100 hectare solar panel or windmill. In the Netherlands, we decided that we don't want it anymore because windmills and solar panel farms that are that big sized, they are bad for the environment. In the new conclusions.
I think we have the last one from the Julian. What is the society participation needed in this green and sustainable technology? I think the involvement of the society, your opinion there.
The involvement is that if you talk about the technology part that we show today, that is simply an architecture program that is meant for project developers and governments. Right? And if you talk about the society, if you look at what we do in Amsterdam, I'm working now on a new project, for example. We call that, how do you say that? From land to building to house in 2 years. And the goal is to lower the cost for the society. And why do we do that? Because we see that a lot of minima people cannot pay the bills, cannot pay the energy bills. So they cannot pay the BPS. So therefore, it's really hard for them to survive. So what we do is, as a government, the government decides that they going to build houses that are energy reducing, in certain cases even adapted for people with disabilities, right? So the government is hearing all the complaints or the need from the people in a certain city block and makes housing specially for that. And I think Indonesia should also do that, but Indonesia should not. I think Indonesia should not focus on those kind of details yet. I think remember when I said you can solve all the problems in every desa with 1 truck cement, 2 trucks of cement, and that you can buy that from the Dana desa. And why do I say that? Is because the biggest problem and challenge of Indonesia right now, for everybody to be happy, is water and sampah, right? And if you can solve that, if you can solve that challenge in every kampung, then you are doing a lot of big change already. If everybody have the water the whole year, then we automatically have better agriculture. Then we automatically have a cleaner environment for Sampa, and it only is as simple. So the best technology will be the need of the people, and it depends on the area.
Yeah. Okay, I think all the question already answered. Silakan kalau ada mau bertanya langsung. Saya mau bertanya langsung ke Demi, boleh buka mic-nya. Ada? Okay, I think.
Syria, wait, I got a question from Syria. Hi, Demi. As we know, in Indonesia, many technology appeals clean and sustainable technology that quantify the design. Seems in the presentation that using Dubbelkalk is in the Netherlands is going to be applied in Indonesia and related to climate in here. Then is the government accepted by the government? That is the big change. And Syria, I think I like this question because Dubbelkalk is not made by the government and not made for the government, but when it was successful, the government claimed it. So what we actually did is, for example, our bank, the ING Bank, wanted a new headquarters, And then they decided that they want to win prizes with the headquarters. So they wanted the most sustainable headquarters of Europe. And so they asked our team to help them with that. And then they make the most sustainable, actually in this case, an energy neutral building, and also net zero, and also fully circular. And then they won the awards with that. And because of that, the government come interested. Hey, we want that. We want that to become mandatory. Because why? You have to understand that the government is usually only going for one thing, and that is called votes. They want as many people to love them, and so they vote for the next time. And what you want is you want to really solve the problem. And the only thing you can do to solve the problem is to do it yourself. And how do you do it yourself? By not breaking a regulation, by not bending it as far as possible, actually, but not break it, and make sure that you just do what you want to do. And if you do it right and you choose the right approach methods, like Dubocolog, I don't think that Indonesia would ever implement that. I wish. For me, it's a simple thing. I would say to Pak Fanky, let's go to the director of SNE, and we ask them the database of all the approved materials. And then I go to my friends in Europe, I pay them $6,000, and then I get a list of all the circularity values and the CO2 footprint, and then we are done, and then we can use it for Indonesia. And then the government don't want it, but maybe Cinemas is interested, maybe Ciputra is interested, maybe PMP is interested, maybe Wika is interested to use that to give more value to their buildings because they become more circular and have a lower CO2 footprint. And then when they are successful, that's the moment that government people come. Before that, nobody cares.
Yeah. Okay, I think we come to the end of the session. I will pass back again to Amanda first for the photo sessions, and then your closing remark after that, Demi.
Oke, baik Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian, silakan aktifkan kamera Anda. Kita akan foto bersama. Oke, saya akan tunggu 1 menit lagi ya. Tolong aktifkan video kamera Anda. Oke. 1, 2, 3. Oke, halaman berikutnya. Halaman berikutnya. 1, 2, 3. Oke. Baik, sudah Pak Fanky. Now we will hear the closing remarks from Mr. Demi.
Well, I want to thank everyone for your attention. Of course, what I showed today is just a small piece of everything. It was not easy to make it to make it small for everyone to and still understand and powerful. This is a big topic because everything is related. It's multidisciplinary. It's not only relating to civil engineering or electrical or mechanical. It's related to everything. If you talk about the 17 SDGs that's completed, if anyone here has questions for me, Pak Fanky or Amanda, feel free to share my WhatsApp number. Feel free to contact me. I'm willing and happy to explain anything. If you have any intention to want to know more about the product, to use it for your company, my intention is actually to find a partner that, oh, my light goes on. To find a partner who want to collaborate to translate everything into Indonesian. This is actually what I really want, because I want this in Indonesia. And I think that it will help Indonesia majorly if we talk about the design methods. And I know that BAPENAS and other organizations already have their own methods. If they want to integrate this into their systems, no problem. We can also just help them make their systems better. And yeah, again, feel free to contact me. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Demi. Selanjutnya kita akan mengumumkan pemenang OVO untuk pertanyaan terbaik hari ini. Yang pertama ada Pak Andika Budi Wisdiantoro. Apakah masih ada Pak Andika? Selamat kepada Pak Andika. Selanjutnya yang kedua pemenangnya adalah Pak Ari Cahyono.
Terima kasih.
Ya, selamat ya Pak. Yang ketiga ada Pak Julian. Selamat kepada ketiga pemenang OVO hari ini. Oke, kita sudah selesai webinarnya. Terima kasih atas narasumber kami, Mr. Demi Hazam. Terima kasih Pak Fanky Christian, Sekjen APTIKNAS untuk opening speech-nya dan juga menjadi moderator kami. Terima kasih untuk para peserta yang sudah menyempatkan waktunya untuk hadir secara online. Sampai ketemu di workshop berikutnya. Terima kasih. God bless everyone.
Thank you semua. Thank you Demi. Ya Manda.
You're most welcome.